As he walks in, he sees, well, honestly, I'm getting way more interested in something else right now. She speaks. He looks. Wow, what a dark turn. Just imagine having that power in real life. Imagine being able to set checkpoints just like in a video game. Sounds like an overpowered ability, right? The only catch is, your luck is absolutely garbage. Always. Today I'm bringing you the story of Kiska, a farmer born and raised in Kato village. Now there's an S-rank dungeon in this village, so the place is always packed with people. Since Kiska is a farmer, he makes his living off his crops, until someone decides to completely destroy his entire harvest. Enter the village head's son, Daka, who shows up just to mock him. "Oh, I heard you couldn't harvest anything this year," he says. Kiska wants to snap back. "Yeah, because you ruined my field." But since Daka is the village head's son, Kiska has to keep his mouth shut. Wow. Local politics are wild everywhere. Kiska's voice is just being suppressed out here. Kiska goes on to explain that in his country, people with silver hair get bullied by default. And unluckily for our boy, he has silver hair. So, Daka and his gang just gang up on Kiska and beat him to a pulp for absolutely no reason. And bro doesn't have any other choice, he just has to endure it. While walking home looking completely wrecked, Kiska runs into a girl named Namiya. She patches him up, and we find out she's Kiska's childhood friend, and literally the only person in the entire village who is close to him. Like Kiska said, everyone bullies people with silver hair, but Namiya actually likes his hair. Kiska is thinking, she accepts me no matter what. I guess my guy finally found his Valentine. Then Namiya drops a bomb. I am going to marry Daka. Well, I guess bro lost his Valentine. That was quick. Hearing this hurts Kiska, but what can he do? He just accepts it and congratulates her. Namiya is visibly shocked because she definitely wasn't expecting that kind of response. She asks him, "Are you okay with this? Do you really want to spend your whole life in this village? Everyone just bullies you here, and you're going to end up getting killed." Kiska sighs. "What else can I do? I have nowhere else to go." And then Namiya says, "Kiska, let's run away together." Well, you guys might be watching this on Valentine's Day. I'm recording this at 5 a.m., but Kiska definitely secured his Valentine. Happy for our homie. Namiya says she has some savings, and they can just run off and start earning somewhere else. Great plan. They both agree. It's a very beautiful scene. That night, Kiska packs his bags and heads toward Namiya's house, thinking, this is the last day. After tonight, all my suffering ends. But as he gets close to her house, he hears a scream. "Stop it! Stop it!" He kicks the door open and sees Daka and his gang assaulting Namiya. Man, why can't we just get a happy ending? Seeing the girl he loves like this, Kiska naturally snaps. He runs in raging and actually lands a solid punch on Daka. But then he gets absolutely destroyed. They beat him mercilessly and start torturing him. Daka literally rips off 2 of Kiska's fingernails, and his goons are about to rip off more. Namiya begs Daka to stop and promises to tell the truth if they just leave Kiska alone. Kiska tries to stop her, but she spills everything, admitting that they were planning to run away together. Hearing this makes Daka completely lose his mind. In a fit of pure rage, he strangles Namiya to death right in front of Kiska. This guy couldn't even get 2 seconds of happiness. A girl finally tells him, "I love you." They kiss, and the same day, she gets murdered. Today was a terrible day, but tomorrow is going to be even worse. Daka and his goons frame Kiska for Namiya's murder and beat him up again. As his punishment, they teleport Kiska straight into the S-rank dungeon, a place that is basically impossible to escape from and has never been cleared by anyone. Kiska starts exploring, and immediately, an A-rank monster pulls up. Bro, that dude is on steroids. No hi, no hello, the ape just starts throwing hands. Kiska has been beaten up so much in his life that he kinda knows how to dodge, but still, he's fighting a literal beast. He's about to die when a mysterious figure suddenly appears. She says, "I'll grant you 1 skill," and that skill is save and reset. As soon as she gives him the skill, she vanishes, and the beast turns Kiska into a donut with 1 punch. Bro is dead. Suddenly, Kiska opens his eyes. He touches his body. He's alive. He thinks, wait, didn't I just die? How am I back? He looks behind him, and the beast is standing right there. It punches him again. He dies again. So yeah, bro is dead again. A few seconds later, bro is alive again. Another punch. Dead again. You guys get the concept here. The save and reset skill activated. His game saved right before he died, and now every time he dies, he respawns at that exact checkpoint. At first, Kiska loses all hope and just lets himself die. But then he remembers Namiya. and decides he's going to survive and take revenge on the entire village. So, Kiska fights back. Obviously, he still can't do any damage, so he dies again. By now, he's died over 100 times, but he has completely memorized every single move the beast makes. It's giving major ReZero vibes. Kiska dodges all the attacks and finally lands a punch, but his weak-ass punch does 0 damage. Kiska realizes, my attacks are useless, but at least I can run away. He makes a run for it. The beast chases him, and while discovering a new area, Kiska steps on a trap. Bro dies again. He's died around 200 times now. He respawns, runs back to the trap, and this time he triggers it intentionally and jumps in. His plan was to land safely, and boom, he spots a hidden room. He enters the room and finds a treasure chest containing a crystal of wisdom. With this, he can acquire any S, A, B, C, or D rank skill. Kiska rubs his 2 remaining brain cells together and decides to pick the S-rank Stealth skill, but the second he acquires it, a massive swarm of beasts spawns inside the room. Bro is about to get completely jumped. He barely survives a few milliseconds before getting wiped out. Now, here's the problem. Since he died inside the treasure room, he doesn't respawn there. He respawns all the way back at the beginning of the dungeon because he has no idea how or where his game actually saves. So now, he has to do the entire run all over again. Kiska fights his way back to the room, picks the stealth skill again, and dies. He grinds his way back again, and this time, he picks the acceleration skill. This actually helps. His speed increases, and Bro starts throwing punches. But are his punches strong? No. He punches an enemy, shatters his own hand, gets ganged up on, and wakes up back at the starting line. He's died 225 times now. He goes back, picks acceleration again, and dies. Some people learn from their mistakes. Some people learn from other people's mistakes. This guy, he just doesn't learn. After dying 300 times, it finally clicks. S-rank skills are useless for him right now. He repeats the whole cycle, enters the room, and this time he chooses the Taijutsu skill. With this, he finally manages to defeat a single beast. Doing so levels up his physical strengthening to level 2. To level it up again, he needs 100 SP. One beast gives him 12 SP, which means he has to kill all of them to level up, which he currently can't do. So, he dies again. Look, Kiska can respawn, but the catch is that he still feels the agonizing pain every single time he dies. He has died around 510 times by now. 510 times getting brutally beaten by the same beasts. He's stuck in the room, gets frustrated, starts cursing himself, and accidentally acquires the Provoke skill. The beasts spawn. He uses the skill to mock one of them. The beast charges at him in a blind rage, but ends up hitting a trap. Kiska provokes another one, dodges at the last second, and the beast ends up attacking its own teammate. By spamming the Provoke skill, Kiska tricks them into fighting each other and clears the entire room. He walks out, and suddenly, a headless, flaming horse starts chasing him. Bro, this is literally Pokemon. Dodging the flaming horse, Kiska arrives at a new area. Now things get interesting. He finds a room with 3 magical teleportation circles. He chooses the middle one. He teleports and sees a girl, the exact same girl who gave him the save and reset skill at the beginning. As soon as Kiska touches her magical vessel, it breaks, and she wakes up. She introduces herself as Tsubaki, an ex-hero who was sealed here just so she wouldn't turn evil. Kiska introduces himself, and Tsubaki says, "Duck." He ducks, and she immediately slices the headless flaming horse right in half. Wow, what a greeting. Nobody's ever greeted me like that. Tsubaki tells him this is just her way of saying, "Thanks. I wish I could do something like that for someone." Tsubaki agrees to help Kiska escape the dungeon. Next up, they run into a mini-boss. Come on, this is just another Pokemon. Obviously, Kiska is no match for this dude, but Tsubaki handles it like a boss. Kiska watches her and thinks she can easily solo this guy, but she trips on a small rock and loses her balance. The Pokemon punches her out. Honestly, I think Kiska has a hidden passive ability called Bad Luck Aura. Trying to save her, Kiska uses his Provoke skill. The mini-boss swings at him, and it looks like Kiska is going to die, but he actually dodges it. The beast punched the wall so hard, its hand gets stuck. Taking advantage of the opening, Tsubaki hits it with a straight-up Demon Slayer breathing technique and slices the boss in half. Nice! Smash the Valentine's Day trap. With the mini-boss dead, things are finally looking up for our boy. Or so we thought. They find a secret passage that leads to a fully furnished, cozy room. It definitely doesn't look like a monster's lair. Whoever lives there isn't home, so they decide to crash for the night. Now, what do a boy and a girl do in a closed room on Valentine's Day? You tell me. They talk, bro. What were you thinking? Kiska asks Tsubaki, "Am I weird because of my silver hair?" Tsubaki smiles. "No, I actually think it looks great." Kiska feels amazing. He finally found another person who doesn't judge him for his hair. They get a little close, but suddenly Kiska's stomach growls. Tsubaki decides to cook. Bro literally found absolute wife material right here. She can fight and she can cook. The food is so good, Kiska literally cries because he's never had a decent meal in his life. After dinner, Kiska plays the gentleman. "We only have one bed, so you take it. I'll sleep on the couch." But Tsubaki says, "No worries, we can share the bed." Where do you even find girls like this? Oh, right, he's the main character. As they lie in bed, Kiska is plotting how he's going to use Tsubaki to escape the dungeon, but Tsubaki has completely different plans. She starts giving him mouth-to-mouth oxygen. Then she grabs his hand, puts it on her chest, and says, "Can you feel my heartbeat?" Bro, I took basic biology. The heart is on the left side. What are you doing? Then she starts whispering, "I love you, I love you, I love you." Typical yandere behavior. Just imagine I pick you up and drop you in Kiska's situation right now. What are you going to do? Whatever you do, I bet you won't do what this idiot does next. Tsubaki tells him, "You saved me. I was sealed here for so long. Every time someone showed up, I'd give them a skill hoping they'd free me, but they all failed. But you saved me." She calls him her prince. Look at our weak-ass prince, man. Tsubaki doesn't just stop at, "I love you." She literally starts taking her clothes off. But Kiska stops her. I don't know what his problem is. Kiska wants to stay loyal. He tells her, "I'm sorry. I love someone else who passed away." Tsubaki doesn't even flinch. "Oh, no problem. I can just be your second wife." Walking green flag right there. But then Tsubaki gets a little too forceful, and that forcefulness triggers Kiska's PTSD from his bullies. Out of pure panic, he violently pushes her away. He immediately realizes he messed up, apologizes to her, and goes to sleep, thinking, "Man, I was way too rude. I'll just apologize properly in the morning." When he wakes up the next morning, wow, what a dark turn. Just because Kiska rejected her, Tsubaki killed herself. Kiska blames himself completely. He runs out of the room in a panic and gets completely wrecked by the flaming horse again. He respawns back in the treasure room. Since the beasts are already cleared, he runs straight back to the teleportation circles, takes the middle one, and runs up to Tsubaki's vessel. He wakes her up again, but this time, her energy is completely off. She speaks to him incredibly rudely. Kiska is confused. "You are Tsubaki, right?" Well, she is Tsubaki, but not the good Tsubaki. This is a different version of her, and she is here to punish Kiska because he broke good Tsubaki's heart. Before he can even react, bad Tsubaki snaps his neck. That's it. Bro is dead again. He respawns, gets back to the circles, and decides, "Yeah, I am not taking the middle circle again." This time, he takes the left circle. He teleports and lands right in front of an absolute 10 out of 10 baddie drinking tea. Smash. She looks at him. "Oh, an intruder. That's rare." Kiska is looking around like, who the hell is chilling with tea and snacks in a deadly S-rank dungeon? He asks her, "Do you know the way out of here?" She smirks. "Well, that depends on your attitude." Now, Kiska has a bit of an ego because he's frustrated. He talks back to her rudely. She responds, "No one talks to me with that kind of attitude," and instantly deletes him from existence. "Bro, just kill me instead, please." He respawns and realizes this entire dungeon is just filled with horrible people. By the way, that tea-drinking girl? Her name is Judith, and she is the true ancestor of vampires. Okay, so middle is death, left is death. Time to take the right circle. He teleports and finds a weird-looking sword. He tries to pick it up, gets a massive shock, and passes out. When he wakes up, the sword has literally fused with his right arm. Kiska walks out, and an A-rank werewolf jumps him. Kiska thinks he's done for, But the sword takes over his body, controls his arm, and slaughters the werewolf on its own. Kiska realizes the sword has a mind of its own, and he might actually be able to clear the dungeon with it. He kills a few more werewolves and decides to challenge the mini-boss himself. He fights the mini-boss, a different Pokemon this time, and actually wins thanks to the sword. Defeating the boss opens a secret chamber. He walks in, and we can see the sword is slowly creeping up his arm, taking over more of his body. Suddenly, Judith, the 10 out of 10 vampire baddie, shows up again. Why is she here? What did our boy Kiska do to deserve this? Everyone is just out to get him. Judith explains that the weapon he has is a parasitic sword. It feeds on monsters to grow stronger, but eventually it eats its host completely. To prevent the sword from becoming a massive headache later, Judith is here to kill Kiska, because if the host dies, the sword is useless. Judith didn't need a weapon to kill him before, but now that he has an overpowered sword, she needs one. So she literally rips off her own left arm, regrows a new one instantly, and turns her severed arm into a blood sword. That is undeniably cool. They clash. After a bit of fighting, Judith realizes this is going to take too much effort, and she's too lazy for that. So she just tosses her sword into the air, it detonates into 1,000,000 piercing shards, and completely shreds Kiska to pieces. He respawns. Now he is severely depressed. What am I supposed to do? If I go middle, Tsubaki kills me. If I go left, Judith kills me. If I go right and take the sword, Judith still tracks me down and kills me. During their fight, Judith mentioned that the sword grows stronger by eating monsters. So, Kiska comes up with a plan. He takes the right circle, grabs the sword, and goes on an absolute grinding spree. He lets the sword eat tons of monsters until it's super-powered. The sword has basically taken over his entire upper body by now. He tracks down Judith to fight her again, and still gets completely folded. Look at her evil smile. Just kill me, please. He respawns again. He's completely out of options. But then, an absolutely crazy idea hits him. This is super risky, but it might just work. Kiska heads straight for the left circle. He's going directly to Judith. Honestly, I would go to her too. Now, remember, Kiska has met Judith multiple times, but because he keeps resetting, Judith has absolutely no memory of him. She thinks this is their first meeting. Kiska remembers that the first time they met, he acted rude, and she killed him. So this time, Kiska walks up to her and treats her with the utmost respect. He greets the great true ancestor of vampires like absolute royalty. She is clearly impressed and happy. Then, Kiska drops the ultimate request. I have a favor to ask. Please take care of me. Make me your student. Nobody saw that coming. The guy just asked the woman who brutally murdered him over and over again to be his sensei. Judith asks, all right, but what's in it for me? Kiska says he'll do whatever she wants. Judith finds this incredibly boring and just straight up kills him. He resets. He goes back to her, and the same conversation happens. This time, Kiska tries a different angle. You've been in this dungeon for so long. You must be lonely. I can cure that loneliness. We can go from 2 to 3. Judith says, nope, not it, and is about to kill him again. Kiska stops her by flexing his skills and hyping himself up. Judith replies, yeah, you can do all that, but I can do it better than you. Time to die. Right before she lands the killing blow, Kiska snaps out of pure frustration and blurts out his true intentions. He wants revenge. He wants to torture and kill every single villager who wronged him, and he needs her help to do it. Hearing this, Judith is thrilled. She agrees to take him in, but only if he passes a deadly test, the parasitic sword test. Judith leads Kiska through a secret pathway to the parasitic sword. She tells him the sword has been a pain in her neck. If he can control it, he passes. If he fails or refuses, it's instant death. With literally no choice, Kiska steps up. Judith tells him to grab the blade, not the hilt. He does. Then she tells him to put the sword in his mouth. Yes, literally. He does it and gets transported to another dimension where he speaks to the sword entity. Kiska says, I need your power. And the sword just goes, okay. Kiska thought there'd be a massive trial, but the sword was basically just waiting for someone to ask. He wakes up and Judith congratulates him. He passed. He is officially the student of Judith the Smashable Vampire. Knowing Kiska is still weak, Judith decides to get him some more skills. She asks how many he has, and he lies, saying 1, hiding his save and reset cheat. Through her secret dungeon pathways, she leads him to
A swordsmanship skill chest, perfect to pair with his new parasitic sword. A lucky chest, deepest room. He gets a random skill called element level, which is useless since he doesn't use magic. While leaving, Kiska spots a massive door. Judith explains it's the main boss room. If you beat the boss, you clear the dungeon and can leave. Kiska asks why she hasn't beaten it. She admits it's an SSS rank monster, but promises that once she trains Kiska, they will beat it down together. The training arc. Task 1. Land a single hit on Judith. Judith tells him not to worry. She won't kill her own student. Kiska accidentally insults her by saying, "I'm actually worried I might kill you." This triggers Judith, and she unleashes a flurry of aggressive blood dagger attacks. Thanks to his 500+ deaths of combat experience, Kiska dodges, blocks, and eventually manages to nick her hand. Task complete. Task 2. Defeat the Headless Horses. With Judith's guidance, he slices up 3 headless horse monsters, earning skill points and leveling up his swordsmanship. Back at the hideout, Kiska tries to serve her regular food and fruit, but Judith reminds him she's a vampire and prefers blood. During their downtime, Kiska asks why she can't just leave the dungeon freely anymore.
Judith reveals that the teleportation circle disappeared and someone sealed Ageha, the hero, inside the dungeon. Kiska is shocked to hear Ageha's name. Judith confirms Ageha is the one who actually defeated the Demon King, warning Kiska to never break her seal because she is strong enough to destroy the world and could easily kill Judith. Months of training pass. They are getting closer to fighting the SSS rank boss. One night, Judith invites Kiska to sleep next to her. They reminisce about how they first met. Kiska tells her, "I don't hate you." This simple validation makes Judith so happy that she climbs on top of him, teasingly asking what he'd do if he saw her naked again. Kiska, traumatized by what happened with Ageha, plays it safe. "I love you, Judith-sama, but I'm not ready yet." Judith totally respects it. She smiles and says, "First we get your revenge, then we take your virginity." It is an incredibly sweet, wholesome moment. And then, Ageha appears out of nowhere and decapitates Judith. "You didn't choose me. Don't fuck with me," Ageha says. Kiska is completely paralyzed with shock. How did she break the seal? Judith's severed head manages to speak one last time, begging Kiska to run because Ageha is utterly ruthless. But Kiska is devastated, and Ageha easily kills him. Kiska resets, waking up back in the room where he got his second skill. Months of training, bonding, and survival completely wiped out. Desperate, he rushes back to Judith, hoping against hope that she remembers him. She doesn't. With a broken heart, Kiska prepares to start all over again and asks to be her student. He figures they can just redo the training and escape together. But before Judith can even answer, Ageha decapitates her again. "I told you not to go to other women. I won't forgive you," Ageha says, before killing Kiska once more. Kiska resets again. He realizes he can't even approach Judith without Ageha showing up to murder them both. The manga has been absolute torture for this poor guy. He gets one single moment of happiness, and it gets violently ripped away the next second. So, how are you enjoying the torture? I actually read this manga a long time ago, and honestly, since then, absolutely nothing good has happened in this dude's life. But our boy doesn't give up. He decides he's going to clear this dungeon himself. He also thanks Judea-sama. I mean, why not? Right now, our homie can't go to the hero baddie, and he can't go to the vampire baddie either. So, he goes straight to the puppet sword. He decides to use all the knowledge and everything Judea-sama taught him to try and escape. The very first thing he does is swallow the blade in one go, obviously. The moment he does, he meets the sword again, inside its inner realm. The sword says they might have met before, but she isn't entirely sure. Anyway, our guy requests her power. The sword actually hesitates, wondering if it's worth it. She's totally caught off guard because she didn't expect to have to think about this. She initially agreed, but now she's weighing her options. Our boy asks her to just help him out. She agrees, but asks, "If I help you, how does that help me achieve my goal?" He asks what her goal is, and she drops the bomb: to become human. He points out that if she controls his body, she technically becomes a human, right? But the sword isn't dumb. She says, "I've controlled humans before, but I've never actually become one. Though listening to you makes me feel like I might get closer to my goal." So she agrees to help. For some reason, it feels like destiny. The puppet sword accepts her role, and our boy starts fully controlling her, instantly gaining her swordsmanship skills. He starts grinding, hunting the local monsters, leveling up his skills, and figuring out his next move. He knows he can't go to the vampire baddie, because the second she sees this parasitic sword, she'll try to kill him. Same goes for the hero baddie. While he's stressing about where to go, he hears a voice. "Is there a problem, master?" He looks down, and it's his sword talking. Both of them are completely shocked that the puppet sword can speak. She figures, since they're together, she's learning how to talk. He explains he wants to farm some skill points and asks if she knows a good spot. She absolutely does. A secret passage her previous master found. He enters it, noting that even his vampire baddie didn't know about this place. The sword warns him to stay on guard, because the monsters here could easily one-shot him. He enters a room and instantly gets trapped. Glowing magic circles appear, spawning around 20 golden living armors. He knows he's probably cooked, but he has a plan. He unleashes the black sword's aura, which actually makes the golden armors tremble. Remember his taunt skill? He uses it on them, hoping to trigger friendly fire, but he accidentally casts it on way too many at once, pulling all the aggro. They all rush him. Game over. Bro is dead again. So he abuses the save and reset cycle. He respawns, goes to the sword, becomes her master, reaches the room, dies, and repeats. But when he returns to the puppet sword this time, he notices she looks a bit more human. He realizes the time loop doesn't reset her physical evolution. He tells her, "Your goal is to become human, and you're actually getting closer." This catches the sword off guard. She didn't expect a human to know about her dream. She gets ready to help him again. He reaches the golden armor room, uses taunt, but this time defends properly and triggers massive friendly fire. He finds an opening and slices one armor down, but then another sneaks up behind him and cuts him right in half. Rip, dude. Another death. After looping and finally cutting down 4 of them, he racks up a massive 416 points. He quickly levels up his swordsmanship and upgrades the puppet sword to level 2. With his new abilities, he starts overpowering the golden armors, straight up one-shotting them. But then, he senses an insane aura. Even the golden armors drop to their knees. The parasitic sword is like, "See? Told you there was a tough opponent here." Enter the area boss, an SS-class monster, the Knight Rider. And look at that dude standing in front of this poor, homeless, orphaned kid. What can our guy do but fight? Using his battle experience, he clears out the smaller knights and focuses on the boss. The boss's horse charges aggressively, pushing our boy back with a single hit. The dude has speed, strength, and range. Our guy tries to attack, but the boss blocks everything effortlessly. But he's not alone. The puppet sword helps him dodge. Still, he needs to land the final blow. He comes up with a plan. The sword warns him he could die, but he's just like, "Bro, I've died so many times, don't worry about it." He unleashes the Great Wheel Slash, slicing the boss and its horse clean in half. He wins and bags all the skills. The sword asks if he can upgrade her to level 3. It costs 700 points, and he has 1,300, so he does it. She transforms into a weird, ugly monster. He asks, "What kind of form is this?" She says, "This is exactly what I wanted to become." He asks what she can do now. She replies, "Well, I can eat, so I'm gonna eat you, bitch." He respawns, realizing even his katana betrayed him. Huge L. The puppet sword was playing him from the start, but he can't clear the dungeon alone. Knowing her plan, he goes back to her. The whole cycle repeats. He beats the boss, and she asks for level 3. He flat out refuses. She insists it will make her stronger, and he replies, "Yeah, so you can eat me, right?" She's shocked he knows. The puppet sword forcefully controls his arm, brings the blade to his neck, and says, "Decide, master. I cut your head off now, or you make me level 3, and I eat you later." Both options suck, so he negotiates. He confirms she just needs to eat strong humans to transform. "So it doesn't have to be me, right?" She agrees. He immediately thinks of his 2 baddies. That is a 200 IQ move right there, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. He decides to sacrifice the hero. He gets to her cell, and the sword notes she's trapped behind a strong barrier. Our guy says he can break it, but he hesitates. He remembers the times she was kind to him and breaks down. "I can't kill someone who said they love me," even though they don't actually love him. He gives up and tells the sword to just cut his head off. Surprisingly, the sword refuses. "When I look at you, this kind of thinking seems human." Being around him makes her feel human. Relieved, he promises to find a way to make her human. They decide to rest for the night in the exact room where the hero previously killed him. They chat, and she admits she's surprised a human can dominate her like he does. She asks about his past, and he drops his tragic backstory. His lover was murdered, and he was framed for it. The sword feels bad and asks, "If I eat those villagers, would you mind?" He says go for it. Their goals align perfectly: escape, get revenge, and let her feast. They team up and easily beat the next boss. But on their way to the final exit, they run into Judia-sama, the vampire baddie. She asks where he's going with a parasitic sword, and just look at those milk jugs. Knowing he has to face her, our boy immediately bows down. He starts flattering her, calling her the great ancient vampire. It boosts her ego. He lies, saying he completely consumed and controls the sword. She buys it and lets him go. He's walking away smoothly, but the puppet sword just has to open her mouth. She has such a nasty personality. What an arrogant woman. Bro, you did not have to say that. The baddie goes berserk and attacks. Somehow, our guy manages to escape. The sword finds it hilarious, teasing him that he just didn't want to fight a girl he liked. Before the final boss, he opens a chest and gets the appraisal skill again. He uses it on the sword, learning all her stats. She gets mad. Did you just appraise the beautiful me without permission? He's confused. Wait, you're a girl? She says. I am, and I'll show you how beautiful I am. The final boss is an SSS rank giant centipede. Its venom is highly poisonous and dissolves metal. He dodges flawlessly, but his attacks do 0 damage against its thick skin. The great wheel slash does nothing. His face just screams, "How the hell do I kill this?" He almost gives up, telling it to just kill him. But the sword saves him and scolds him for breaking his promise. His fighting spirit returns. He baits the centipede into a blind rage, dives into its mouth, and shreds it from the inside out, bursting out of its stomach. The dungeon is conquered. He gets a blazing sword as a reward. The puppet sword gets jealous, but he keeps both weapons just in case. He steps on the portal and finally escapes. The village guards are absolutely shocked. They open the gates, and right at the front are the friends of the son of a bitch who framed him. The moment our homie enters, he gives them a terrifying, revenge-fueled smile. He upgrades the puppet sword to level 3. She turns into a monster, and he commands, "Leave no one alive. Eat them all." She happily massacres the village. Meanwhile, the guys who framed him try to run, but he stabs their legs. He burns one of their faces, demanding to know where Darka, their boss, is. He finds Darka, the scumbag who killed his lover. Darka is arrogant, saying he has to go fight a monster. Our boy smiles. What if I told you I brought the monster? Our guy brutally rips off Darka's triceps. Darka's goons try to attack, but our boy speed blitzes them, decapitating one, gutting another, and slicing the third's neck in the blink of an eye. He walks back to Darka, terrified and begging on the floor. "Don't worry," our boy says. "I'm not going to kill you easily. I'm gonna kill you in the most horrible way possible." At the Adventurers Guild, our boy drags Darka in and exposes the village chief, Darka's dad, for covering up the murder. The chief orders his men to attack, but our boy slaughters them effortlessly. Only the father and son are left. Our boy proposes a game, a fight to the death between dad and son. The winner avoids torture. They instantly turn on each other. Darka actually wins and kills his dad. Our guy congratulates him and says his reward is a 1v1 duel right now. He unloads all his trauma on Darka, thanking him for killing his dad so he can finish the job himself. He effortlessly cuts Darka vertically in half. Revenge complete. Suddenly, there's a loud noise outside. He rushes out and sees a massive egg. The egg cracks, and a beautiful girl emerges. The puppet sword actually became human, but part of her body is still monstrous, and she hates it. He comforts her, saying he can love her just the way she is. She's overjoyed, but then another monster attacks and eats the girl right in front of him. It seems when she transformed earlier, she split into two. The other half evolved into a mindless beast and just ate her. The puppet sword is dead. Devastated, our boy goes to his lover's grave. He realizes he has absolutely nothing left, so he kills himself. Attempt number 560. Why? Because he decides to reset and help his only friend become a true human. He respawns, goes to find the sword, but she's not there. Suddenly, a monster attacks him. It's the puppet sword, already transformed into a mindless beast. He realizes the loop is broken. The vampire baddie won't help him, the hero will kill him, and his only ally is now a monster that eats him. He's soft-locked. Bro, why did you kill yourself back there? And that's where the chapter ends. I checked, and this is a monthly manga that hasn't missed an update. There are a few more chapters left, which I'll cover in the next part really soon. I won't take long. Let me know if you want me to cover this monthly. Anyway, that's it for this video. See ya!